a lot of time checking their grades. They might check them, I forget, 20 times a day, 30 times a day, and this is a way for them to get that right away. They don't have to go sit down at the computer. They can just hit a button, hit another button. Is my grade there or not? Right? So it gives them that instant communication and instant gratification that a lot of students want and expect nowadays. People that have grown up in this era and are young now, they expect instant gratification from a lot of things. Okay, so another one here. So this is our USSU, which is our student union on campus. So basically this is providing news and information about that. So, and there's actually tabs along the bottom that we can click on. For example, the executive blog, which is blogs by the executive of the student union. So this is a way for them to get communicate and express connections directly with students. They don't have to have anything fancy or anything like that, but the students can still feel that personal connection with that person. And they can read this on the bus because this is stored on the device and it's not lost when they lose their connection. So you can see this is a new way of pushing information to your students and also getting information back from your students that is not instead of the website, it's in addition to. And I think it will be expected by a lot of different groups. So if we can continue on. Yeah, actually that Louis tab is one of the favorites of our students. It's the local pub. They like to know what the drink specials are and all that stuff. Okay, so library. So this actually interfaces into a third-party vendor's technology to look up information about books. So you can do a catalog search and just type in a name of a book here and do a search, and it'll actually bring up the answers as if you were sitting at the terminal in the library. And we found that students actually like this feature a lot because they don't have to go and sit down in the library. They might just go to the particular floor and section to get the book, and they don't even have to sit down. They don't have to talk to anyone. They don't have to go to the website or anything like that. They can just come on here and get the same information. And we also have under, for example, we have the news, and then we also have services, which is the library hours and that sort of thing, so that students have that wherever they are. Okay. The most popular feature on our campus, and the one that was most requested before it was added, was the map. And you can't see it on here, but this is actually overlaid on top of Google Maps. If Amanda hits that, you can see that Google Maps is underneath there. And another thing you don't see is that if you were on campus, it would actually show a little blue dot showing where you were on campus. So let's say you're trying to get to a particular building. Well, you can see where you are, and you can see where that other building that you're trying to get to is in real time. So as you walk around campus looking for your rooms, you can actually see that. We don't have any internal maps in the application yet, but that's something we're looking at adding as well. That the ability to say, here is where I am, and I need to get to this particular classroom, and how do I get there? And you would basically see a pin showing where the classroom was you're going to, and then a blue dot showing where you are, and then as you move, you see the blue dot gets closer to the pin. So students won't need to get lost on campus anymore if they have features like this. Okay. The email button is something we just recently added, and that's actually something that just configures their mail on the iPhone. And I was very surprised that this was such a highly requested feature, but now that we've added it, it is one of the most popular, second only to the map. Basically, and again, all it does is just configure mail on your phone so that you can check your university email. That's it. Very simple, but something that students really do care about. And I'm going to just sort of go through the rest of them a little quicker. So let's go, yeah, we can go into the cam, and hopefully we'll be able to see. It looks kind of dark, but we actually see live webcams from our campus. You can see, yeah. Yeah, so you can actually see what's going on. These update every 30 seconds. And I'm sure at one point, we'll have more live cameras, or perhaps not. I'm not sure. So let's go. We can take a look at the final exams that we just recently added as well, and that just lets students look up what final exams they have. And depending on what button, we always have different issues. And so one thing is with this, is the final exams, we never cache this information because that's something that can change and can be very, very detrimental. If we cache the information, stored an old copy of it, and then the student goes and looks it up later and says, oh, well, it's actually in this other place, but no, that's actually because that's not the most current information. So this is a case where we don't actually store the information. We always make a live request to get the information. And if we can't get the information, we just tell them we can't find it. Okay. Another way to communicate, if you can just go into research and then the videos. I'm not sure how quick this will be today because I know the World Cup's going on. But we can actually, the research communications likes to talk about what's going on our campus. And one of the big parts of our campus is a synchrotron. And if this video does load and play, it actually talks about, oh, yeah, I hit the play button. Yeah. Yeah, it's buffering. But it seems really dark, too. Anyway, so that's an example of a video. We actually also have audio in the application as well that basically just talks about what's going on our campus in terms of research. And the people who do recruiting really thought this was a great idea because it turns out that students from foreign countries such as China, when they're picking a university, one of the things they look at is, you know, what kind of research is going on. Well, I want to pick the best, you know, university for research in my field. And if they can come here and actually find out about this particular campus in more detail, and they can do that. Do you want to play we can play the audio if you want. I mean, we couldn't play the video, so we might as well do something. You should just be able to hit one of those, and it should just, oh. Okay. It didn't load? Okay, well, don't worry about it. We'll continue on. And a lot of the different things, so if you can just go into the alumni button, for example, so that just shows you news and information about what's going on for alumni on campus. Oh, are we losing the internet connection? Here, I'll just plug this in. That's my backup. Looks like the Wi-Fi just went down. I don't see it at the top here, so yeah, I think it just, oh, looks like it maybe came back. Let's try it again.
There we go.
Magic. Anyway, so this is the alumni button. So for alumni on our campus, how do they find out about what's going on? How do they know what events are going on our campus? Events for alumni that they would want to attend. Well, they can go to some website and look it up and everything, but this offers a very compelling way for you to look that up in real time and see what's going on campus and what events they might be interested in attending. So it's another communication tool, and we've actually got feedback from alumni that hadn't been in our university for 20 years, and they said, you know, I really like this application. You know, I have an iPhone and I really like it, and I downloaded the app and I really like it too, and now I'm actually, you know, checking what's going on at the university, whereas they weren't connected to the university in any way for the past many years. And I think that person lived in Toronto, and, you know, it was just some sort of something that they hadn't, you know, really thought about. But when they actually went to the app and saw that the app was on there and they downloaded it, it caused them to reconnect with the university. Okay, so this is actually cache data now because we don't have an internet connection again. But even without the internet connection, we can, for example, like go back to the USSU. That'll still work to some extent. Oh, no. Anyway, so I think that gives you a general overview of what's available through the application, even though we're having intermittent connectivity here. So, and there's actually another row of buttons that and other information. Here, I'll just. So the technical support. One of the things that's actually interesting, so I'm just going to scroll through the list of people. These are all the people that have been involved in the project. Just many, many different people from many different parts of the university that have contributed on this project, and it really was this sort of grassroots movement in many ways that a lot of people communicated and worked together to create what I think is a very extensible application. It has a lot of different features, and I think in some cases are very compelling to different universities. I won't say where, but I attended a university, I was at a university in California last week, and they were familiar with our application, and as a representative of the company, I said, well, would you want to work with us? You already have a mobile solution from another vendor. And they said, yes, we do want to work with you. We want to switch to your solution because you provide things like authenticated access to grades and information like that it doesn't seem like too many do. And even though we can't show it, I don't think, because I think the network is still down, the feedback button is actually, I think, one of the most important features in our application. It's a way for students to send feedback back to us and say what they're thinking and tell us what they think about the application. It's driven a lot of the decisions on the application on, what features should we add, what features are important to students. And some other things that we're adding, for example, are tracking so that we can see what buttons are actually being pushed. So I think that's it for our yeah, you can show that. It's just a fun little, yeah. Depending on how you interact with it, it'll make different noises. So there's actually, I think, 8 different sounds. Yeah. Yeah, if you pet him, if you pinch his nose, there's lots of different things you can do. And students, it's just a fun little application that we added. Okay, so going back, so you can see that we add a lot of different features in there. Some of the ones I didn't cover, for example, registering for workshops, teaching and learning workshops. I think I covered the rest of them, most of the rest of them, even though we skipped over a few buttons. We can keep going. Okay, so now I think we can start talking about my marks, and I'll let Amanda take over, and I'll be the slide person.
Can everybody hear me? Okay. So I got involved. I was actually initially involved in this project as a developer. I was with ITS, but I was sitting in on the meetings with computer science and seeing how ITS could help them out. And as mentioned in the introduction, as this project evolved, so did my job, and I became a project manager. And based on my involvement from the beginning of this project, I was the lucky one to take on the project of getting marks and grades into iUsask. So it was identified that we required campus-wide access for collecting and displaying coursework grades. So if we go to the next slide, we'll show you how we solve that. So what we have is our campus has a Luminus portal as well as Blackboard for students to access their course information, and we store their final grades and midterm grades within Banner. So what we did is we actually access the grades that are from Banner. We have an operational data store where those grades are stored, where has typically been used for administration to query and find out statistics that they need to for their departments and that kind of thing. But we are using it to access the final and midterm grades for students and put them in a central database of marks. And along with that, we are querying into Blackboard for their, they have a grade book within the application. So we didn't want instructors to have to enter in to make the grades accessible through the iPhone or through PAWS or Luminus portal. We didn't want to have to get them to enter grades in 2 places. If they chose to use the grade book in Blackboard, we wanted to make those grades that were entered in there accessible in all the same places. So we actually used we created some APIs so that we could send the grades from Blackboard into the marks database as well. So they're all stored there. And then we also created a brand new application for our Luminus portal that allows, through the course tools, allows instructors to enter in marks as well that get sent to that same database. And they're all using the same APIs to enter into the database. And then the database sends them to another group of APIs, which can then be used by iUsask to get a feed of grades for that student based on the authenticated user. And any other application can use it as well. Our Luminus portal is also getting that same feed so that it can be displayed in the same way to students. So whether they go to our Luminus portal or